Hey everybody, day 15, Homemaker Tips video series. Topic today is tips for working moms. I have been a working mom probably all of my motherhood. I've had various types of jobs. I've had work out of the home jobs. I have had work at home jobs where I work for someone else as my boss. And I have had a work at home job where I'm the entrepreneur and I build my own legacy, right? So I want to tell you a little bit about each, and I'm going to go right through my tips and let you know what I've learned over my 12 years of being a working mom. Okay, first topic is going to be lessons I learned. Lessons I learned working out of the home while kids are in daycare. The first thing I noticed is that the questions never stop when you're away from your kids. Are they happy? Am I feeling guilty? Are the people really taking care of them? Is this really worth it? Am I really fulfilled? The questions of doubt never stop. That's one thing I learned. I have had multiple jobs where I work part-time, full-time, whatever. The questions never stop. So if you're a working mom and you're like, man, maybe one day I'll adjust to this, don't think about it because it's not going to happen. You're always going to have those questions of doubt. You just are. Anytime your kids are away from you, being raised by strangers, or taken care of by strangers, that is what you're going to have. Even when it may be your family as caregivers, maybe your mom watches your kids or a friend watches your kids, you're still going to have that doubt. It doesn't ever go away. And even in some occasions, the guilt never goes away. It's one of the things you need to know when you're going to be a working mom outside of the home. One of the three questions I want you to ask yourself if you're going to be a work out of the home mom: is my work fulfilling or is it just a paycheck? If your work is fulfilling you and you leave work every day feeling like I made a difference or I love what I do, great. That feeling of fulfillment will help with the guilt and the doubt that you feel about your kids. If you're working just for a paycheck, don't count on it. Your paycheck need to pay the bills kind of thought process will eventually weigh on you so much you will feel like a failure at your job and you will feel like a failure as a mother. And that can lead to some very depressing thoughts. And you will start to feel like you are backed in a corner and you're drowning and you don't know how you're going to make it. And that, my sisters, is not a way for anybody to feel. So if you're having those feelings right now, please reach out to me and talk to me, because I have an opportunity that can be awesome for you. And no, it's not my business. Of course I have a business opportunity, but I do have other work at home opportunities where you actually have a boss, you actually make an hourly wage, you actually get paid, you work it as a job. And I can teach you how to do that and show you what resources that you would need to do that. And it's legit. I did it for a year and a half before discovering my own business with Beachbody. Okay, moving on. Number 2, how are my kids affected? Okay, if your kids are coming home cranky, blah, 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 that's one thing. But if your kids are coming home, Mama, I don't want to go, I just want to be with you, or whatever, that kind of thing, or your toddler's always crying and they say, oh, she'll get used to it. That never worked for me. Never. I actually worked next door to a daycare. One time, my job was here and the daycare was like here, and I walked outside to take a break and I could hear a child screaming from the daycare. It was mine. And they told me, I will not let your child scream more than so much. And my break was 15 minutes and I heard them the whole time and my heart was ripping out of my chest. So that day, quit on the spot. On the spot. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I chewed out everybody in the daycare center. Why didn't tell me my kid was crying? And then I was like, I'm sorry, I can't work here. I need to be home with my son. And that was when I had 1 kid. Now I have 4 and things have totally changed. Number 3, am I confident in my decision to work? Am I confident in that decision? Why? Why am I confident? You have to know that. You have to know why you're confident. And if you're not confident, you have to know why your confidence is shaken. Those are questions you should ask yourself. You should never enter into your motherhood with a feeling of I have to do something. Motherhood is a gift. The ability to work is a gift. The moment you feel like you have to do this and you have to do that, take away the gift and it becomes an obligation. And let's face it, nobody likes to be obligated to do anything, right? Okay, that's lessons from working out of the home while your kids are in daycare. I learned these lessons when I was working full-time, going to school part-time, and my kids pulled 10-hour days in daycare. My 3rd child was 6 weeks old and fresh into a daycare. So I know exactly what you're feeling, right? let's move on to the second thing, which is lessons I learned being a stay-home mom and working for someone else at home. When I discovered that you can work at home, just like you can work in a building and be an assistant for someone, or do a typing job for someone, or be a blog manager. That's what I was. I was a blog manager. It revolutionized my life. I'm like, I ain't never going back to work for nobody else outside of this house again. I will find all my work virtually. That is the way it is going to be now. And it changed my life. Here are the top 3 tips that I learned. If you're going to work from home and you're just starting out, this is an awesome way to help you learn how to set a schedule because you actually have a boss. But the cool thing about virtual bosses is that as long as you get your work done, they don't care when you work. So a lot of times I was like, okay, I got to get my kids down so I can do Mike's work and get his blog stuff done. And then it was a way for me to figure out what worked for me. I knew if I work from home, I cannot have one of these jobs where I'm on the phone all the time. I've got kids. There's no quiet background. It allows you the opportunity and freedom to figure out what it is you want to do. So freeing. There are thousands of online work from home jobs that are legit, that are not scams. And I figured I found them, right? I found the place. Okay. Number 2, don't work for less than you're worth. When you go to these sites, you're going to find people from all over the world. So obviously people in poverty countries are going to work for $1 an hour. In America, that doesn't sweat it. My recommendation, only work for American contractors. I need to be able to speak the language and be on the same time zone as people that I work for. So I only chose to work for Americans, and I got an American wage. I would recommend the same thing for you. That was something I learned real quick. Number 3, if you're going to work from home, you need to know exactly what you want your work life to look like, right? You sit, you picture out, oh, this is how it's going to look. Think about the pictures you see on the internet where the mom is sitting with the kid in her lap and you have a laptop and everybody's happy. Once you create the life that you want it to look like and you can see yourself doing, snap yourself out of it, take off your rose-colored glasses and realize it's not going to be that way. It's not like that picture that you see on the internet at all. It's more like you're sitting at the computer and your kid comes along and dumps coffee on your computer and then dumps cereal on the floor, and you got to stop your work in the middle of your thought process and clean up the kitchen and clean up the kids. Yeah, it's all that. That's work at home life. That's what it's really like. But if you know what you want and why you're working at home so you can be with your kids, it's not as big of a deal. You're willing to go with the flow and realize that I work for someone else based on my schedule, and it's freedom that I'm going for here. Okay, so that was working from home for someone else. Now, my best and favorite of all, lessons I learned working from home for myself, for my own business as an entrepreneur. Number 1, I love the fact that every day I'm building my business and I don't need a boss that tells me if you post so many blog posts, that equals X amount of dollars that goes into my pocket, like the boss's pocket. And so I'm thinking to myself, he basically explained to me one time, every time you post a blog post for me, it pretty much generates about $200 in sales on my website. And I posted for him about 5 times a day, which meant $200, $400, $600, $800, $1,000 went into his pocket. And I only got $8 an hour, working maybe 20 hours a week. That's only $160. And he gets 1,000? Oh, no. No. I want to put money in my own dream and in my own pocket. And once I realized that, okay, I still want to work from home, but I want to have the pie, not just a piece of the pie. I want to own the whole freaking pie. Then it clicked. And I realized this is the better way for me to be able to work at home and create the life I love. Number 2, I find joy in helping others create the life they deserve, whether it's through health and fitness or creating a life of financial freedom for themselves, because my business is a generational type business. It's a sponsor business. So I can sponsor people and I can train them how to do what I do, and they go and change lives as well. Number 3, nothing is more important than work-family balance. I am still working on this. Just when I think I have my hours set, something happens. Gavin has an orthodontist appointment. We have to leave in a few minutes to go take him. And I was supposed to work on helping people with a challenge group, right? So you have to be willing to understand that work-family balance is very, very important, but it is never perfect. And once you can figure out that it's never perfect, you'll be all right. Okay, so those are my tips and lessons I learned from being a working mother at home for someone, out of the home with daycare included, and also at home with my kids around me working for my own self. So I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy your weekend. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.